Okay, so pay attention to this area right here. You should be able to see a spark. If not, there is one, trust me. It's a pretty decent one too. I could see it in my little screen here, so you should be able to see it on your computer screen. Alright, so what I'm looking for now is that plunger on the carburetor does still work. This is 12 volts live right now, as you can see. So if I hook this wire to here, I should hear a little bit of a click of a solenoid plunger. Which I don't. So that solenoid plunger on the other side on the carburetor is probably stuck and or bad. So I'm going to have to remove that and either clean it to make it work or bypass it somehow. Meaning that I make it permanently open. This is that solenoid plunger. The black wire is ground. It's a ground. This is that power wire that I was touching to the 12 volt thing. So I just have to find the wrench size for that, unscrew it, and see what the dealio is. It might just be stuck. Which, if that plunger is stuck up in here, that means that this carburetor is going to come off anyways and get cleaned up. Otherwise, it's probably all junk in there. So this is a little plunger thing. It is stuck. When I pulled it out, it was actually stuck in the down position, which is actually kind of going to work in my favor. But the fact that it's stuck is probably because there's a bunch of gummed up fuel down there, which isn't a good thing, and I could smell it too. It smells really nasty, so I'm going to end up dropping this bowl over here at least and getting a glimpse of what it looks like in here, and if I don't like what that looks like, I'm just going to take the whole carburetor off and give her a clean over in the parts washer. Oh, Jesus. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Alright, well, I can smell that it's pretty bad in there. Well, the screw does not want to come out. So I'm just going to take the whole carburetor off and give her a clean anyways. I'm going to end up stripping the poor screw. These newer style Briggs carburetors are, I guess, easier to clean because they come apart in more pieces, or more bigger pieces. The older style Briggs carburetors, this is all one big piece, and it's kind of hard to get in the middle. These newer style, they come apart, so the actual carburetor part is just this thing in the middle here. It actually makes it better to clean, but they come apart pretty easy still. They come apart easy as long as you remember that these are actually long studs that you gotta unscrew. But hey, it's been a while since I've dealt with one of these newer style carburetors. I've been dealing with stuff that has the older style for a while now. It's the choke lever. It's an O-ring to something. Okay, you are looking down into the parts washer, and this is what I found. That is some nice crystallized gasoline. So, there's some more of it on there. This carburetor is definitely in need of some cleaning. So I'm going to let this stuff soak for a second. Then I'm going to disassemble the carburetor some more. Check to make sure that the float still floats, and go get some carb clean, squirt it through all the passageways to hopefully clean them out while not getting the carb cleaner or brake cleaner, depends on what I could find, on any seals that are left in here. It looks like they're all out. So yeah, carburetor was definitely pretty plugged, and that's why that plunger probably doesn't work. So yeah, I'm just going to let that soak for a second and come back in a bit. Alright, so my carburetor is all nice and clean now. I've actually never had one of these newer style carburetors apart, so I haven't dealt with them as much. I've only had one, and it was for a project that I was working on for somebody else, so I've never had to work on it since. So it's kind of, you know, a new experience to see how they put together the newer style carburetors on the Briggs engines as opposed to the older, like the 11, 10, or 12, 12.5 horse that are a much different style. But it you know, it's still just a lawnmower carburetor, so there's not really anything super special about it. It just has an extra, this is actually what would be the needle and seat setup. The needle and the seat are in this plastic thing here, which is then this sort of metering plate of some sort, I'm guessing, and then the main jet's in the middle. It separates from the main body of the carburetor. It's a little bit different than the older style, but you know, it's still a carburetor. I mean, there's still just different, the passageways are just a little bit different from where the fuel goes into the carburetor and stuff, you know. But anyways, I'm gonna stick it back together. Hopefully I put this back the way it's supposed to go. Looks like it goes this way. Yep, because the main fuel inlet's right here, which goes out to where the needle and seat are, which then dribbles onto here, and the float does float. I tested it. These plastic ones never really go bad, to be honest with you. They're completely sealed, and it's just plastic, so there's not really anything that could go wrong with it. So I tested it. It does, you know, work. Then of course, this just goes back on here this way. I don't think it matters which way. No, it's completely the same either way. So I'm just going to put that back together, put these screws back in, and then stick it back on the 18 horse over there. And then this thing, I'm going to decide what I'm going to do with it. I mean, it's still stuck down. I soaked it in the parts cleaner for a while to see if it would unstick, but it's still stuck. So hopefully it stays down, but ultimately I just have to find some kind of plug fitting that'll thread into that. It's I want to say it's a pipe thread, because it's not a normal bolt thread. I tried on a different engine at one time that I don't actually have anymore, so I don't know exactly what thread that is, but I'm just gonna stuff that back in there, and hopefully it won't become unseated otherwise, because as far as I can tell, that plunger doesn't work. Then again, it is stuck down, so maybe if it unseats or unsticks, it'll work. Who knows? Anyways, just like that, carburetor's back together. Just going to put it back on the machine. Gasket goes this way. So yeah, nothing special there. And just like that, the carburetor's back in there. I think all I have to do now is find a little fuel source to hook up the line here, and it should start.